Okay, we're gonna talk about copyright because you know, I saw it on my Twitter feed and think it's pretty interesting topic at hand because you know, usually I don't see arguments between the Japanese side of Twitter and the English speaking side of Twitter, but there's quite a lot of arguments about it. Again, yeah, this title of the stream, it's copyright, yep, then ZZZ grind, but ignore the ZZZ grind. We're gonna talk about this. So, I guess I should show the original tweet because I think the original tweet is probably gonna give the context needed for this. So this person is talking about a short film for Eva. I'm assuming that they probably showed this, like, there was like a screening for like some Evangelion thing. I'm pretty sure this is probably about I was seeing like clips of like talking about Asuka and Shinji. It's something about Shinji seeing like a future with her or whatever. I'm assuming this is probably the thing that they are talking about. So yeah, they say it's a short film for the new Eva. Ticket price was high, that's fine. The experience is amazing. There are some people who want to see it properly, so we totally fine to release it for free too. It's just sad that over there across the ocean, it's mainstream to feel no guilt about not paying a dime for something that was created. And, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like I generally try to give a lot of grace to the Japanese side of Twitter. This opinion is fucking dog shit. Before that, let me read the other tweets. So, stop pirating our products, then sell them to me, and then it shows the dude getting angry. And then this is from a person who is Japanese. I think it's pretty rare for Japanese people to consider bootlegs or pirate copies as stealing from the original copyright. So I reckon it's impossible to ever reach a mutual understanding with Westerners on this. As a result, the Japanese manufacturers and companies keep on missing out on profits that should rightly be gained. Why? Because they're not selling it. They're basically trying to say that there's a feedback loop between, oh, pirate the item, company sees that people are pirating it, so they're like, fine, we're not going to sell it, and then people continue to pirate because they can't buy it. Which, again, I still think that's kind of stupid. Look, I don't think I've ever talked about copyright on stream or on my YouTube, so I guess let's make this abundantly clear. While I don't think I'm not gonna smile about someone who is pirating something, if it's like a small indie project, like I'm not gonna smile if I'm gonna be honest with you. If someone's like, hell yeah, I'm not gonna pay $15 for like whatever Signalis or like Undertale or Omori, any indie game, I'm not gonna be like too like happy about that personally, because I'm gonna be like, okay, it's an indie game, one, they're cheaper, and two, like, come on, like, they're not that expensive. I don't know. At the same time, I also don't think I would want, I'm not gonna be like so aggressive about it that I'm like, I'm going to beat this person half to death. Look, I understand people, at least, especially from the Japanese side, it seems, gets very upset at the idea of people pirating, but there's a couple of factors with this. First, let's start with the factor that a lot of people are pointing out here. There's another tweet also over here about it, same thing. JP posts shaming Western fans of Piracy as if we didn't get the official Fate Stay Night over 20 years after its release, where people are supposed to just sit on their hands and wait. And I think that's the one good point that Japanese fans, I think they're being, either they're not acknowledging or they're being obtuse for no reason about it. You cannot expect someone who has no website that could buy, like, for example, use Fate Stay Night as an example or we could use, look, let me think of something actually. What is, no, we could use Fate Stay Night, we could use Tsukahime, it doesn't matter. The original Fate Stay Night, pre the Steam release, how would someone in the West play it? There are no, like, normal methods to purchasing the game for Fate Stay Night in the US or in any country that is not Japan, and maybe China. Maybe China had a release, I don't know. I'm kind of just assuming there because China typically has a lot of releases that are also in Japan. America doesn't have a release of the game, and someone wants to play it due to interest that they take in the game. and there's no method to purchase the game except through illegal means, that being piracy, what do you expect them to do? There's no world, like, you're not gonna be finding a copy of Fate's Stay Night in any store in the US. Maybe you'll find it in a hobby shop across the country, but even then, that means that we're taking into account that America is maybe like, I don't know, like 50 times the size of Japan, and there's no cross-country travel that's reliable. Ignoring that method, yeah, there still really isn't much of a way, unless you're competing with collectors, to receive like an actual legal copy of a game like that, where normally Type Moon isn't selling the product in America. Now, let's say you do buy it. There's actually another issue, which a lot of these people are also not taking into account on Twitter, and it's a very simple fact. So let's say you do buy it. You buy Fate's Stay Night. You put it in the CD player. Your desktop doesn't have that anymore because, you know, they don't make desktops with the CD drives anymore. You bought a separate one specifically for this. You put it in. You hear this. You're ready. You're ready to play it. That is until you realize that it's in complete Japanese and you don't understand Japanese. So then you run into the second major problem that a lot of these people on Twitter are not considering, which is the people who are not in Japan are not actually all that incentivized to buy products that are solely in Japanese because they can't understand it. So you are running into two different accessibility issues, which is, one, it is not easily legal to, like, easily purchasable in a legal manner, and then you're running into the other problem, which is, even if it was illegally purchasable and accessible, if someone cannot understand or consume the product that they are doing because of language barriers or anything else, I can't think of anything else personally, but, like, if there is something else, then you also still can't expect people to buy it, because what does it do for them if they can't even consume the product properly? That is to say, it is intensely dumb to get upset that people are not just buying things without thinking through possibly exorbitant prices. There's also the other problem here, which is, if you were to buy the product like they are saying, especially nowadays, a lot of people, look, I'm gonna be honest, there are some people who are not Japanese, and I'm gonna be honest, they're just meat riding for the sake of meat riding, who are saying, why don't you just buy a ticket to Japan? And if your solution to someone saying that they can't purchase something legally is for them to buy like a $3,000 plane ticket, or to get something shipped and have to pay like a $400 tariff, legally you should be gagged like a dog, probably. I think you're being intensely stupid, more than anyone else here, because, you know, like, at least the other people are stupid enough to, like, to not give a response and are like, just like, oh, you shouldn't buy it, you shouldn't pirate it, it's stealing. You're being stupid and suggesting something equally stupid. So, yeah. And I think that there's also a key point here, which, maybe I should talk about this, actually, the other part of it, which is American views on piracy, because I'm talking a lot about the Japanese view of piracy and why I think it's stupid, but why don't we look at the American side of piracy? And there's actually one thing I didn't acknowledge on the Japanese side, which I'm going to talk about in a second, but if you were to, for example, look at this person over here. The last American version still hasn't been translated to Japanese. Why doesn't America translate it to Japanese? American companies should pay and translate it for Japan. This dude has a collective of two brain cells, and they are too busy. They are too busy trying to kill each other, so they're too occupied to actually work. His brain right now is empty. okay, I'm insulting these people. Do not actually like go to them. Do not bother them. Like I don't. I'm not gonna suggest that. I am gonna call them stupid because I think they are stupid. But do not call them stupid yourselves or acknowledge anything to me. I do not want to be a part of that. But yes, this idea is stupid because he is not taking into account, or she, whoever this person is not taking into account the very simple problem here. You know, if there was actually demand for it, yes, they probably should. But we're not taking into account, this person is not taking into account, is there is no demand for this in Japan. If the movie had demand in Japan, yeah, you should be providing supply. The Evangelion thing, and even the Fate thing, this person's not taking into account. There is demand here. It's just not being met with any supply at all. That's the problem. And this is why you will not see Americans or other like Westerners really put up too much of like an issue if people in other countries were pirating their an American product and were translating it to another. Is King of the Hill, I don't know if it is King of the Hill even legally actually localized to Japan? Like, legally. And even past that, there are other things. Breaking Bad being localized to, like, is it a Peruvian audience with Walter, instead of Walter White, it's Walter Blanca? Dude, I guarantee you that Americans and Westerners more or less do not care that much about piracy. In general, sure, but they will especially not care if it is done for the sake of accessibility, which in both of those cases, yeah, it is. Do you expect a random Peruvian person to, I should probably look at, what is it, Walter Blanco? Don't give me Walter White. I want Walter Blanco. Yeah, Metastasis. Where is this from? I don't actually remember. Is it Colombian? It's Colombian. I was right about Peru, actually. Wait, I was right. So yeah, my greater point is, you know, people are not gonna be that mad. They're not gonna be they're not gonna be upset at all in America or in Western countries when they see this kind of thing, because from their perspective, piracy done for the sake of accessibility is a net good. Because there's a key point that a lot of people will say over here, and I believe that I don't remember who it was said by, but there are some game devs who have said this. I don't want to attribute to Game New because I don't remember if he did say this. Maybe he did, but there was a game dev, like a pretty big game dev, that said this, where, or maybe it was a TV show producer, where they said, like, oh, if someone isn't, like, the assumption that if someone was pirating something that they would be purchasing it is, like, a false, that is something that's, like, a false equivalency. That's, you're not going to actually see that happen. Someone who is pirating something is not always going to be purchasing the item that you are trying to get, because the point of view here for the Japanese people is, why don't the American people just buy it? Well, again, you're not taking into account, even if it was readily available, there are other things that are preventing them from buying it, solely the language and stuff like that, which is the actual problem here. You can't expect people to buy things if they, one, can't afford it, or two, they can't understand it. Which is why a lot of people in the West view piracy, even though it's not always going to be a good thing, it is more done for accessibility, or accessibility reasons, or for preservation reasons, which is another thing that I don't see being mentioned at all. A lot of people who either are like Westerners siding with the Japanese on this, or like the Japanese side of Twitter saying this, or saying there's no net positives to piracy. Again, I think that is extremely stupid, because without piracy, you do realize that there are a fair bit of games from the past that you would not be able to even remotely play. Like, for example, I don't know if this is the case with Mother 3, but let's say there's a game released by, like, let's say Mother 3, if Mother 3 is not brought by Virtual Console. If Mother 3 is not a Virtual Console, and piracy didn't exist, that game is just not accessible for anyone to play it, and it's lost to time. So to say that there is no reason for piracy is, again, being thick-headed and obtuse, and for no reason. You can't be that... You can't have the dildo that far off your own fucking ass that you don't see why someone would want to pirate something. The original Tsukihime literally doesn't even have an official release. You were expecting someone, what, to buy the original copy and then just look at their screen and hope it translates itself? You're being stupid. And this is especially stupid. You should sit down and wait for it. We know that's not going to happen for a lot of things, though. Mother 3 is a good example of that. I just mentioned it. You can't seriously expect people to have faith that they're going to release a Mother 3 in the West when it has been released for over 20 years, and Nintendo of America, Reggie has gone on record being like, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if that ever is gonna get released. Like, dude, come on. You can't bang your head against a brick wall that many times, like that hard, that you somehow come to that conclusion. And this is also a good point. I'm master an absolute ethics master. Check this out. Whatever the law says. Yeah, believe it or not, there are ethical things. There are things that the law prohibits which are not unethical. Piracy is not a black and white unethical thing. Again, there are purposes for it. I get it that you might not want it. I'm not gonna vibe with someone who's like, oh, I'm gonna pirate this game and never pay for it, and it's like an indie game. I'm not gonna really be all out on board with that because I don't really like that. But in that situation, if the person was like dirt poor and they can't even afford a $15 game and they just can't, like, I'm saying, like, they actually cannot afford it, then what are you expecting them to do? They're not gonna buy the game even if they didn't pirate it. Which is the greater point here, which is that if someone has the ability to purchase the game, they likely will purchase the game, and if they can't, they won't. I don't mean to be starting shit. The content your country makes is not popular at all in Japan. Sure, yeah, but it's also actually, no, that's frankly not fucking true. You guys in Japan fucking suck the shit out of fucking Disney, dude. Come on. Disney is a thoroughly American. Disney owns, like, Disney's wealth practically owns, like, half of the planet, man. Don't act like it isn't popular in your country. Disney's popular everywhere. This type of thing where it's like, they're trying to, like, slide it off as, like, oh, it's because your country doesn't make anything. Stop being such a thick-headed moron. Sit down and listen. And this, well, if those rules are for Japanese works in Japan, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Well, you're not in Rome, and they do keep. I was reading their replies to this person. They kept saying, "Oh, but it's Japanese content, so no, it is Rome." That's not how that works. That's not how it works at all. What it's more like is it's like if the Romans bought, like, I don't know, like, it's like if the Romans bought, like, Chinese, like, silk, and then you're expecting them to do as the Chinese do. No, that's not how that works. Are you an idiot? This was making me quite upset, this thread in general, because it's like, dude, come on. Also, again, let's not act like, I don't know why. Dude, it's like the meme where it's like, oh, you know, you insult your own country a lot, but you don't want someone else to insult your country. That's what's happening to me, where it's like, oh, shut up. I get to berate America for a lot of different reasons because I am American. I am. I don't want someone who's not American berating America, because it's like, bro, you're not berating it for the right reasons. You don't get it. The equivalent is you're homeless, just buy a house. That is literally the equivalent here. You cannot expect people to be like all like, okay, sure, I'll just buy the Japanese goods for 50 times the price of a normal American product, and also I'm going to not be able to consume it. You cannot expect people to do that. Again, from my perspective, other countries could steal, they could pirate as much product as they want from like American like subscription services. If you guys want to make 5 quadrillion like localized versions of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and then localize every single Undertale game, every single American RPG, every single American game in general that doesn't get a Japanese, you could do that. Because why? It's not like you were going to pay for the product otherwise. You literally only have the way to consume it if you are pirating it. You guys got, like, this is a point that's good here. If Toby Fox did not localize Undertale or Deltarune, you guys would not even have access to that franchise. So don't act like you're like, I would have bought it. No, you wouldn't have. That's so that's the guy. No, that's unauthorized modification to the product. That disrespect. That is so stupid. Again, who gives a shit? Yeah, even here, here's another good point. You literally cannot even play like a fair amount of the Fire Emblem games. You just expect it to somehow, I don't know, not bother. Even if you think it's morally incorrect, so long as humanity exists, there are going to be people who take what you consider to be the morally incorrect path. That's how human will works. Yeah, and exactly. This is the point that they're not taking. Okay, why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't we? Because you lose money? No, you're not. You're not losing money. You're not required to consume it. There's no way to moralize it. There's no way to demoralize it. Illegitimate. Okay, who cares if it's illegitimate? Who is it hurting? No one. Then why do you care? Because some dude is in his feelings about it? I don't care if that dude's in his feelings about it, man. It literally doesn't affect him. He's not losing anything. He's getting in his own feelings for no reason. And this is the other part they're not even understanding. They think that people who pirate are, like, forever gonna be thieves or whatever in their head, and they will not ever get it through their concrete skulls that that is not gonna be the case. I'll give you guys the admittance right here. I might have bought it already. I already own the game now. But you know, I pirated Fate Stay Night because when I played the game, there wasn't an English version. And guess what? I liked the game. And you know what I did? I liked it so much that I bought merchandise for the franchise. I bought a legitimate copy of it, and I continued to support the franchise. If I didn't pirate it, I would have never played it. Meaning I would have never bought anything. Meaning, if I didn't pirate anything, there would have been no games for your supposed overlord companies. So shut up already, man. It's so goddamn dumb. I get the point. Yeah, piracy is not a pricing issue, it's a service issue. So yeah, that's a discussion. A very long video, but that's a discussion. Piracy isn't always right, but it's not always wrong, like a lot of these people are gonna say, and they're going to be forever convinced more, because I don't think that a lot of them are willing to listen. Because saying just don't get it, okay, but who is it hurting? Why does it matter if I get it? They're not gonna listen. Maybe you guys will have a different point of view on this. I'd be shocked if you do, because again, I'm taking a pretty middle-of-the-ground approach here, which is what I'm saying, that I don't actually really like it when people pirate things from indie people, from like indie devs or like indie creators. I don't really like that much, because those people would certainly, they're not losing anything, but they would appreciate the revenue gain. Whereas all these people are just straight up saying like all piracy is bad, like a goddamn bot. So I don't know, you guys could tell me what you feel. Thank you guys for tuning in, and join the streams. I stream pretty often at night, and pretty late streams. I've been starting around like midnight for the most part, so if you want to join in one of those, let me know. You don't need to let me know, just join the stream. You can type in the chat, you can lurk, I don't really care. I'm mainly just doing gacha games. I have these yap segments at the beginning of every stream, where I try to talk about something that is either pertinent to like whatever's happening, or sometimes I just share random shit with you guys. So if you have anything maybe that you would want me to look at and to talk about on stream, you could do that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.